Hi, my angels. Please ignore the noise in the background. It's been super hot lately, so I have a fan going. So it's staying on. But also, please ignore the fact I'm not wearing any makeup. I kind of went to bed last night wearing makeup. So, well, I didn't go to bed, but I fell asleep. I'd washed like most of my makeup off, but then I still had some like on my eyes and stuff because I hadn't like done my eye makeup removal or whatever. And then I woke up in the morning time and my eyelashes just felt really gross and clunky, and then I went like that and I had makeup all over me. So I'm not gonna be wearing makeup for the next little while because I kind of want to like give my skin the chance to breathe. I'm hoping I don't get a bunch of pimples and stuff around here because it was like up here too, and I just yeah. So I'm not gonna be wearing makeup for the next little while, but I also thought that it would be good for today's video to just kind of be like clean and raw and like no makeup because I wanted to talk about my mental illnesses. So I did a video before which a lot of you guys seem to really like, so if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go check that out. But it was my I think I titled it my undiagnosed eating disorder, and then there's a trigger warning. So I'm going to talk about like the rest of my mental illnesses in this video. So I was diagnosed with anxiety when I was, like, I kind of knew I had anxiety my entire life, but I was actually diagnosed when I would have been, I want to say 16. And then when I was like 18 or 19, I got diagnosed with the rest. So I am being diagnosed by a different psychologist, but just because the first psychologist was, I talked about her in my eating disorder video, and if, like I said, if you guys have watched that, you know why I decided to go to someone else. But anyways, so the second psychologist diagnosed me with severe anxiety, social anxiety, not severe, but the opposite. Like, it's not severe, but I do have it. Depression, borderline personality disorder. Oh, I was diagnosed with PTSD when I would have been, like, I think 14. So PTSD, which was re-triggered by another traumatic event. So, yeah, that was fun. And then, what did I say? It did say anxiety, depression, social anxiety, PTSD. Oh yeah, borderline personality disorder. And then he also said, like, potentially, I need to stop touching my skin. Anyways, potentially I could have bipolar, but he wasn't sure because he was diagnosing me with a bunch of things in one day, or like re-diagnosing me with certain things like the anxiety and PTSD. And the fact that, like, you know, I was only 19 and I had so much going on in my life that he's like, it's hard to tell if you actually do have bipolar, if you just have a lot of overlapping symptoms because of the other things that you've been diagnosed with and all these other factors. But he's like, when you get older, if another psychologist or if you come back to see me, if you do get diagnosed with bipolar, don't be surprised. Yeah, so that's basically what I've been diagnosed with. It's kind of been a struggle because not a lot of people know what borderline personality disorder is, and so a lot of people either think, one, it's not real, which, yeah. Two, it makes somebody violent and act crazy and a bunch of other stuff, which, no. And also the whole, like, oh, you might be bipolar, you might not be bipolar thing has been really hard because a lot of times people will be like, well, you aren't bipolar. And I'm like, well, no, I could be. Like, it just, I don't know, it's kind of been a struggle. I mean, I've dealt with my mental health, like, my entire life. As you guys know, I, had that eating disorder, and then I have all this, and it kind of makes it really hard, so I can't work. Which isn't great, because, yeah, but that also makes it really hard, because a lot of times people think I'm being lazy, and I just don't want to work, and I'm sitting there being like, no, guys, like, I literally have doctors and psychologists and therapists and counselors and other mental health professionals, and like everybody saying like, no, you can't work. And then I have people in my life who are like, yes, you can. And I'm like, show me your certificate. Show me your certificate. And it's really frustrating because, I don't know, I feel alone a lot, you know? But yeah, I guess I could tell you some of the symptoms of anxiety, and like other things. So I find a lot when I get really stressed, I end up throwing up, which again is part of the reason I can't work, because work brings stress. Like, that just, no matter what, you're gonna be stressed. Like, something will happen. But my body's naturally action as soon as it gets stressed. It's just throw up. And that kind of makes it difficult to do a job when you're like hunched over a toilet. It's not easy. Yeah, and a lot of people really don't understand it. So when you turn around and you say like, this is just my body's natural reaction to stress, they're like, why are you that stressed? It's like, because my brain hates me, apparently. Yeah. What else do I want to say about it? Oh, so I was in a, sorry, give me a second. I was in the hospital when I was younger, like on the mental health floor, and I stayed there for a little bit, a couple times, which I found it didn't really help. I mean, it did, but didn't. It did in the sense where, like, I could be, surrounded by, like, doctors, and I could be getting my medication, and they would, like, give it to me every day, because I'm really bad for taking my medication, and then, they'd be able to, like, watch me and say, like, oh, okay, the way she's reacting to this is, like, normal for this medication, or it's not, we have to switch her, and stuff like that. But, I don't know, I found it was just so, hidden from all the stressors. Like, for example, we were not allowed to use cell phones, because they said that, basically, like, looking at social media can cause, like, stress triggers, because you can see things, like, for those who had, like, eating disorders, you could see, like, skinny girls and compare yourself, or you could see, like, there's, like, bullying and stuff, which I found social media to me was never a stressor. It kind of, like, helped de-stress me, but I was like, whatever, like, it's a rule, cool. Anyways, but then, like, as soon as you left the hospital, you were flooded with all of, like, this negativity again, or, like, you weren't allowed to, like, there's just certain things you weren't allowed to do because they're trying to, like, protect you, but then as soon as you left the hospital, you can't always be protected. All of these things came rushing back, and you didn't know how to deal with it because you just spent 2 or 3 weeks, like, basically locked up in this, like, safe environment with, no stressors around you, being given medication every day, and being surrounded by people who are, like, trained to help you when you have a panic attack, which is great, yeah, but at the same time, I kind of wish that they had, maybe for, like, the first day or two, been like, no, you need a break, maybe even 3 days, like, you need a break, you can't go on social media, you can't do this, you can't do that, and then slowly be like, okay, yeah, you can social media for, like, an hour a day, and, like, just kind of slowly bring you back into the world. There's just, like, a little while of being, like, completely hidden from the world to just being, like, thrown back out there and being like, okay, bye, hopefully I don't see you again. Doesn't really work. So, I don't know if it's supposed to work. I don't know who's decided that this is how it's supposed to be, but from somebody who's been in there, it doesn't work. I mean, yeah, and I remember, like, we had to take these classes that was, like, how to deal with certain situations, or certain stressful situations, and, like, the best way to deal with them, which half the time the situations were things that, like, none of us would ever see, or, like, had any, like, one of them was, like, I think I remember one being, like, what to do if you're fighting with your brother, and it was a group of us who, like, me and, like, a couple other kids had no siblings, and then a few of them that did have siblings, or siblings were, like, had moved away, like, we're so much older, we're tiny little babies, or something like that, and we're all like, this doesn't concern us, and it's also a lot different, like, having a class and being like, oh, option A, punch him in the face, option B, scream and hit your head against a wall, option C, calmly ask him if you can walk away for a few minutes and come back to the conversation when both of you are feeling calmer. When you're not in the moment, saying C is obviously the right answer. But sometimes when you're in the moment, you might not do any of those. I don't know what you're gonna do, but it's, so I kind of wish they were more, like, realistic. And also the thing is, like, I remember saying something like, oh, what happens if, like, you ask your brother to do option C, or whoever to do option C, and they say no. They want to finish that fight right then and there. What are you supposed to do? Yeah, you can just walk away, but then the person's gonna get more angry at you. Or you could, what I mean? It just, yeah. So I found those classes didn't really help. But, and then I went to a bunch of other, like, classes after I got out of the hospital, like, group therapy sessions, and I hated it, because I'm very much, I'm an extrovert, and I'm also very much, like, I forget the actual term for it, but it's called, like, an emotional vampire, which basically, like, I feed off the emotions of people around me. So if I'm in a room full of people who are extremely upset and are talking about, like, you know, things I need to talk about in therapy, I feel those emotions. And then I remember I would, like, go into the therapy session being like, okay, you know, we're going to therapy, I'm having a good day, like, this is good. And I'd come out of therapy being like didn't feel like I could move, because there was, like, so many emotions in me. Like, I was sad and angry and sometimes a little bit happy and, like, pretty much, and scared, and, like, pretty much every single emotion you can think of, and then some, yeah, all at once. And that was just that it's yeah, it's weird. But so I hated those. And then what else? Oh, I also found, like, when I found out about, like, the whole borderline personality disorder thing, so I'm trying to move you guys so you can see the mess in the background, and I have to clean my room. Anyways, I'm a human. But then, what was I saying? Wow, I forget what I'm saying a lot. Okay, we're talking mental health. I was doing the group therapies. Oh yeah, the borderline personality disorder. So when I found out I had that, I kind of noticed, like, a lot of the symptoms made sense. Like, I have a really hard time with relationships, and, like, one of the things about borderline personality disorder, which if you want me guys to, I can do a video, like, about it in the future, but basically, one of the things is with relationships, you'll go from, like, having a person really high up on a pedestal, like, you love them, to all of a sudden they'll do, like, one simple little thing, and they're, like, just down at the bottom, you absolutely hate them. Which I noticed I was doing a lot, where, you know, somebody would do something that was kind of like a small thing, and I would seem to, like, just hate them. And then I never really noticed how, like, unusual that was until I was diagnosed and told that was one of the symptoms, and I started thinking about it. But now a lot of times when, like, I do get upset or angry at someone, I'll turn around and be like, okay, Sierra, like, is this actually something, like, yes, you are allowed to feel upset with them, but is the thing they did bad enough to not want to be their friend anymore? Or is this just, you know, your mental illness talking? And then now I can turn around and say, okay, yeah, what they did was actually, like, really shitty. I just don't need them in my life anymore. I can turn around and say, no, you know, it's just a small, normal human thing. They made a mistake. Breathe. Calm down. You know, like, you can let them know that what they did upset you, but you don't have to be like, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. But it also makes it hard, because sometimes I find, like, I guess I kind of always knew I did that, because the thing is also people would turn around, like, they would walk all over me, and I'd be like, no, you know, you jump to conclusions, you get angry at people really fast, like, this isn't that big a deal, like, but now I feel like I've kind of learned how to be like, okay, you know, this is a big deal, you need to not have them in life anymore, or, you know, they've done this too many times, like, this is too much negativity, you deserve better than this, or, you know, they're human, they made a mistake, like, hopefully it doesn't happen again, move on. But I find that's, like, the hardest thing for me when it comes to, like, relationships and stuff, which I kind of wonder if that might have been part of the reason I didn't have friends for a few years. Although, well, no, see, if you guys have followed me on Instagram, I did this one story time about my one ex-friend and how she just one day decided to, like, message me a bunch of saying she didn't want to be friends anymore because of a bunch of lies, and I'm just like, none of this is true. If you had said, like, XYZ instead of ABC, then maybe, but probably not, because I try to be a good friend, and also these were, like, even if, like, she did feel like I had done this, it was a very fixable thing, and if she just messaged me and said, like, hey, you know, this upsets me, can you please not do it? I would have stopped doing it, right? Like, it's not that difficult. I feel like this video has been a lot of, like, just randomness. Yeah, I've been wanting to film this video for a while, and I don't know, I've had a really hard time, like, sitting down and figuring it out. I think it's because a lot of times, like, I don't like to talk about my mental illnesses, like the PTSD. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I'm not gonna tell you guys what happened. That's way too, sorry, my nose is itchy. I think that'd be way too triggering. and I also don't really want to talk about the person, or I guess technically people. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure I have a hair up my nose, and it is annoying. Yeah, so I don't really know what to say about that. Oh, for those of you who don't know what PTSD is, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. Which doesn't only happen to not veterinarians, veterans. I mean, I guess it can happen to veterinarians. I don't know. Well, actually, yeah, I do know, because it can happen to literally anyone. But that's another annoying thing. That sometimes I'll be like, oh, I have PTSD, and they're like, you never served in a war. And I'm like, yeah, you're correct. I didn't. Why are you telling me this? Why do I need to be reminded that I've never served in a war? And they're like, you can't have PTSD because you never served in a war, so you're not a veteran. I'm like, oh, not quite how that works. But okay. Yes. A lot of veterans, I think most veterans, probably have PTSD. It is very, very popular with them. Yeah, it makes sense. But literally anybody can have PTSD if they went through. Oh, somebody liked. Oh, also I downloaded TikTok. Sorry, I just got a notification. Apparently somebody liked my video. Anyways, but yeah, so I think I'm going to end it there. Like I said, if you want me to do like more in-depth video about like all of my mental health disorders and stuff like that, and like maybe do a video like specifically for anxiety, or specifically for depression, or specifically for PTSD, or specifically for borderline personality disorder, or specifically for any of them, definitely let me know down below. Anyways, I love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers!